Hello, everyone. I'm glad to introduce to my audience and to the audience of three channels simultaneously of the YouTube channel of Captain Gary Tabach, my Maria Maksakova, the Synthetic Warfare Channel 2. We're going to have a unique program today, and let's get it started. I will ask kindly Captain Gary Tabach to introduce our wonderful guest, and let's get started. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you, Maria, for introduction of me. And yes, it is absolutely correct. Today we have a very interesting guest that I have never heard of, and I was introduced, and I got very interested in it because there are struggles. There are people struggling in the world for independence. There are people struggling in the world to be free and be modern nations, to live alongside with all the others. But we never hear about them. They're not sensational. They don't get the likes and the views and the revenues, and they don't make the yellow press. But today, I'm honored to introduce the Honorable Prime Minister of in exile of Balochistan, and it is Madam Quadri, and she will tell us what is Balochistan, where is Balochistan, and what is Balochistan people? What kind of people live there? What kind of religion there, and what is their goal? So maybe people will start paying attention to it. So, Madam Prime Minister, it is an honor for you to come to our channels and to explain to our audience, to our friends. So please do so.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Gary. Honor is mine. Thank you so much for having me in your today's program. Uh, yeah, it's actually very uh, painful for us that people don't know what Balochistan is and where it is. But in uh, dealing with the countries who have occupied us and who have colonized us, uh, people have lots of um, partnerships and dealings and businesses. But majority of the businesses they do with those countries who have colonized us, they are selling our ports, our minerals, our resources, our geographical strategical positions. For Balochistan, they are important. If they don't have Balochistan, they are just landlocked countries. So Balochistan was a country for 700 years till uh, Pakistan uh, occupied the last part of it. But Balochistan is slightly bigger than France, and its population is 60 million plus. Uh, um, More than half is out of Balochistan living in exile. And Balochistan uh, has four seasons. Balochistan is a junction that where Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia joins each other. That is Balochistan. So our north is Central Asia, our south is Middle East, and our east is um, South Asia. So we connect three civilizations. And uh, during the British colonization of India, they needed to connect with Iran and they needed Iran's oil and they needed their telegraph and they needed to control this region for some uh, the how they divided Balochistan They gave a part to Iran as bribe, and in the name of, because British were not ruling Balochistan. Balochistan was never under the direct occupation or colonization of British. It was free country until uh, British. Actually, what they did is uh, they came as friends, and for some agreements they did with us. They needed to reach Afghanistan. They needed to reach out to the world from India, sitting in India. So they made contracts with us, deals with us, leases. They took some places on leases, and there was a dispute between Iran and Balochistan on border, and Goldsmith uh, uh, came. Sir Goldsmith became a kind of a solicitor, or whatever you can say, and he said, "Okay, let's sit and resolve the matter." Instead of resolving the matter, where Iranian representation and the government of Balochistan's representation was there, they gave a huge part of Balochistan. They declared that it is Iran, where no Iranian lived. It was a Baloch majority living in very important areas. And the representative of Balochistan was Sardar Fakir Bizanjo, and he didn't sign the agreement. He said, I don't agree with that." So that was not legal because one party has not signed. The king of Balochistan also said that we don't agree with this Goldsmith uh, 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 decision. So the line was drawn, and for 20 years, Iranians were not able to come to that area because Balochs were defending their area. Um, so today's Bandar Abbas, its original name, Baluchi name is Kambaran. Uh, Chabahar, they have changed its name as Bahishti, but its original name is Chabahar, and they call Zahedan, it's Tuzab. They call Iran Shah, it's Pahra. So they have uh, actually colonized with the help of British. So if today's uh, quote unquote Islamic uh, government of Iran, why they are taking benefit of uh, uh, kafirs? They call kafir. They hate people who are not of their brand of religion, only their brand. It's not only religion of Islam, but their own brand of religion. If somebody disagrees, they are not Muslims, they're not humans, they don't have any right to live. So why they are taking that gift from those kafirs? Return back, give it back to us. We don't want to live with you. In Iran, and Iran is the first country who recognized Pakistan. When Pakistan was carved out from India, it's an artificial country that has no roots. On the name of religion, they carved it out, and half of it, or majority of Pakistanis, they left Pakistan and made Bangladesh and said, "We don't want to live in Pakistan." The way they are dealing with their own people who created that country, uh, it's not acceptable for them. Balochs were never part of India. Balochs were never part of Iran. Balochs were never part of Afghanistan. With Durand Line, uh, Second Anglo-Afghan War, British uh, took a part of Afghanistan and included it into British Balochistan, took a part of Balochistan, Quetta and areas nearby, and included it into, they took it from on lease from the king. So Baloch lands were free, they took it on lease, and then they made British Balochistan. And when they left, and they included a part of Balochistan into Afghanistan. The today's Nimroz, Helmand, Registan, the south of Kandahar, uh, it's Balochistan. Baloch people still live there. And the last part of Balochistan, as free country was existed, they uh, helped actually with the help of that time's international. I don't know what the situation was, but the United Nations was very newly established, and Pakistan occupied with military invasion the capital of Balochistan, Halat, and they invaded it, and then they uh, took a signature from the king under duress. Uh, and the king said that my signature has no value because my parliament has rejected the inclusion of Balochistan in the name of religion into Pakistan. In our parliament, all the parliamentarians, all the member House of Lords and House of Commons, they unanimously passed the resolution that Balochistan will be shall be a free country, and we do not accept the idea of surrendering our own identity, our national identity, in the name of any religion to succeed with Pakistan. We don't want to annex with Pakistan. So Balochistan's parliament never endorsed any uh, uh, mm, uh, sign of annexation with Pakistan. So this is illegal. How Pakistan has kept Balochistan is illegal, and how Iran has kept Balochistan is illegal. They don't have, both of the countries don't have any legal right to rule Balochistan or keep Balochistan into or show Balochistan on their maps. Today, the world is uh, uh, the northern part of Balochistan, that is in Afghanistan today, that is comparatively in a little better position because there is no genocide, there is no killings from the Kabul governments. Whatever government have came in Kabul, they have given a kind and a respectable like position to Balochistan, not equal. Balochs are not equal in Afghanistan also. Uh, the most uneducated, kept underdeveloped people are Balochs there. But in Iran and in Pakistan, how the Balochs are living, we are facing genocide. Being Baloch is a crime. They can come, they can demolish our houses, both of the states, equally. And they can pick any woman, any man, or a child, they can take. Sometimes we find mutilated bodies carved on it, long live Pakistan or long live Iran, carved on the body. Uh, we find bodies without organs. They are involved in organ harvest of Baloch people, and they have red cells. Uh, we, our young women are committing suicide because they are getting calls from Pakistani army officers that they should come to their camps to serve them. So instead of going there, they are committing suicide. Our boys are committing suicide because they are asking them to come and spy for them against their own people. They are poisoning our water resources. They are burning our villages. They are burning our orchards, our fields, and they are taking over. They are taking in Iran and in Pakistan also. They have declared Baloch lands, huge Baloch lands, as their ownership to the state, and they have right to like vacate anybody out of their home, and they demolish the homes, and they are developing uh, China Pakistan corridor, and Iran has also joined that. and they are developing our ports of Chabahar and Gwadar for China. So millions of Chinese are plan to come there and be there. Uh, Balochs are gonna be uh, some people who somebody will find in a museum somewhere. But the plans are that there should be no Baloch. Balochistan should be Baloch free.
Mhm.
There should be no Baloch. They want our ports. They want our resources. The four biggest gold mines in the world, out of 10 biggest gold mines in the world, four are in Balochistan. Two are occupied by Iran, two are in Balochistan occupied by Pakistan. One is almost taken out by China. The second is also under attack. And it's a company that is registered in Canada somewhere. But like Baluch people have told them that please don't come. Until and unless Balochistan is not a free country, independent country, let Baluch people decide with whom they want to do business, to whom they want to invite for investments, to whom they want to be friends. And today, as you see, today who is our friend shall be our friend tomorrow. Today, who is supporting us? So when we see on the globe, nobody's supporting us. Everybody is supporting the colonizers.
Why?
A very interesting question. Why? The
I don't
majority,
miss. Yes, I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
because the complex situation is we are divided into three parts. Uh, the people who support Iran, the countries in the world who support Iran, they don't support us. And the countries who support Pakistan, they don't support us. The world is divided. Who will support us? Only those people can support us who have a vision of future that Balochistan shall get its independence. Balochs are not ready to live with Iran or Pakistan.
Mrs. Prime Minister, as far as I can see, until 1948, there was no armed conflict, no war against Baluchi. It seems like that if you read Wikipedia. Maybe it's something. It was something else, but it looks like since 1948, um, there was less and less speech in the world about Baluchi, about Balochistan, that type of invasion, occupation of really three different countries at once that practically now are on the Baluchis territories. They made it that way, maybe because of the end of the Second World War, maybe because the League of Nations passed away, I would say, and the new UN, United Nations, did not do a lot about what happened to Baluchis. I have no idea, but it looks like on that moment when one organization disappeared and the other one began to work exactly in 1948, we don't hear a lot about what's going on in Balochistan and with Baluchi people.
You're right. It was the end of World War II. In the League of Nations and situation of United Nations, it was so new. But India managed to to make the world recognize the Kashmir issue in United Nations at the same time.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. It is very interesting that we hear about Kashmir people. We hear about Kurds, who are probably, the way it sounds, in a similar situation as you are, divided by several countries. There are 40 million Kurdish people. Understand? We even hear about Uyghur Muslim population in China. Sometimes, rarely, but we something. But it's never on a, at least in the United States. And I don't know how it is in Canada. This is the first time, at least for me, that I heard of 60 million people. Do you have your own language?
Yes.
Do you and
Yes.
do you have like your own flag? And
Yeah.
right. Okay. So I mean, you are
This is our flag. Our flag is always with us.
it's very pretty, and you is
We
your
have our
religion.
national anthem and
You have
yeah, we were a
and
country.
and you
We
got
were
a
a country.
constitution, probably, and
Yes, yeah,
and we never
constitution.
we never heard about you. So to me, it
Yeah.
sounds 40. There's a lot of resemblance. 1948. You
Mm,
were a nation for I guess centuries that formed an artificially created nation like Pakistan, which was part of
yeah.
India, invades a nation that is not artificially created. It was created by God or naturally created, however people want to see it. And
Yeah.
you practice, or most of the people practice Islam in your country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they get, is it Sunnis or Shias?
Actually, we have majority Sunni, but we have Shias also.
So, and
But
then you get invaded by a majority Sunnis get invaded by Shias from
majority
Iran. Uh,
and Sunnis from Mexico.
and we never hear, and we never heard about, and we never heard about 60 million people.
Yeah.
We hear a lot about artificially in 1948 artificially created Palestine of that time of I think less than a million people. Now it's over 3 million people. I mean, they're being oppressed greatly, so that they have expanded from 1 million to 4 million. But and we hear about that artificially created people and nation, but we never heard of Baluchi people. That is bizarre. It is simply bizarre. I mean, have any one of our have you had rebellions and arm uprising against your oppressors, or pretty much you trying to do it peacefully all these years?
Actually, the policy of the government of Balochistan in exile, we do peaceful things because uh, Pakistan has managed to make the Baluch armies have given them the stickers or titles of terrorists from UK and US governments. So the way Kurdish people have their Peshmerga and their arms and they own it uh, openly, Baloch people in diaspora cannot own their army as their own, because then the peaceful work we are doing will also be uh, categorized as supporters of terrorists or something. But as a matter of fact, Balochs have their own army, and Balochs are um, as Kurds. They are our cousins, actually, our brothers, sisters. We have genetic closest connection with Kurds, like our forefathers were saying. And Baloch nation has emerged from the five uh, big tribes, five Kurd tribes. So we are same people, and um, uh, you have seen that like Kurds, we are not fanatic people. We are not extremists for religion. Religion is something that is beautiful to connect you to God and to teach you don't harm other people. But if people make religion a base to kill others and hate others, it's not a Baluch thing. We don't. We can't.
So this is bizarre. This is just absolutely bizarre because you're peaceful, and this is a lesson for the world. Because you're peaceful, you were occupied. Because you tried to do it in a civilized way, a Muslim nation that's trying to do it in a civilized way. Nobody gives you support. Nobody hears about you. But if you would go across into your neighbor and you would rape women and you would kill children and you would cut their heads off, then they would hear about you. Then in the United States, we will have protests in your support by LGBT, by Antifa, by Black Lives Matter. They will be burning buildings here and trying to support you in your aggression against. But if you're peaceful, nobody hears about you. If you're trying to do it in a civilized way, you get no support. Is that what the human race? I'm addressing this to the politicians. I'm addressing this to the journalists, famous journalists. Why have I paying you and I never heard of Baluchi nation, of 60 million people, of a prime minister in exile, of a government in exile, of people who have their own language, people have their own religion, people have their own flag, constitution, a nation. And yet all of my attention is directed to an artificially created nations who are violent and murderous. And that is shame. It is a shame that the human race came to that today at this position. It is just very, very sad, Madam Prime Minister. So who do you think your allies are? Who supports you? Maybe one of our presidents spoke about you. Maybe one of the prime ministers in Europe or in Canada have tried to bring you to be your ally. Maybe some nations are your allies because, like you said, eventually you will be a free nation. I strongly believe that people, that Baluchi people deserve that, as the Kurdish people and as Uyghur people. Those are nations. So who do you think is going to be your allies, or who is trying to help you today? We understand that Pakistan and Iran and China probably, are hurting you, occupying you. But who do you think your allies are?
Till today, there is no one that we can say that somebody is standing with us as a state or as a country openly. If you have, there was a bill in U.S. Congress in 2012 by Congressman Donna Aurora Becker for the independence of Balochistan, but that was sabotaged by Iran, and a person who was given the representation of Baloch to speak there actually. With the, people have then realized that he had very close connections with Iran, and his statement was not proper in the Congress, was not according to our demands. But that bill was there, and there were Congress people who were supporting that, but it couldn't go on. We expect that the U.S. Congress members of Congress in U.S. Congress can take that bill or a new bill for our independence. In British Parliament, a bill has been presented, I think 3 days back, on the mistreatment and violence of the state of Pakistan against our peaceful protesters, women and children. They were beaten up and arrested, and water cannon was used to disperse their peaceful protest because they were asking about 68,000 enforced disappeared Balochs. 68,000 Balochs have been disappeared, taken away by Pakistan. The eldest is 90 years old man, and the youngest is 7 days baby girl. A 7 days old baby girl has also one of the enforced disappeared Balochs. So the protesters were just asking about their loved ones and the way they behaved. That was also came in European Parliament. Also, we have heard some voices for us, but in United Nations, I personally participate in the uh, uh, Geneva UN Human Rights Commission. Like mostly three times a year, we go there, and there is a Baloch camp in front of the Voice of Baloch Voice Association. It's having a camp, protest camp in front of United Nations. At every session, the Baloch cap is there, Baloch flag is there, the pictures of our Bartas, the pictures of our enforced Balochs are there. And we go inside and we do side events. And we have filed the cases of what Pakistan is doing and what Iran is doing against us. Um, but still, United Nations has not taken an
Forget
action.
Madam Prime Minister, forget the United Nations. We need to work on European and American, I mean U.S. and Canadian governments. This is another failure that our nations are showing, and it is absolutely disgusting because we're saying there's sanctions from hell on Iran, on Russia, on China, but it's all just turns out to be empty talk. If we are, as an Americans, sanctioning and fighting a real war, so far a Cold War, but a real war against Iran or against, I actually have a lot of respect for Iranian people, for their ancient nation. And many of the Iranians are saying that we have failed them to get rid of these modern day Nazis that have taken power in Iran and oppressed Iranian people. So we have failed these people. We keep saying, but if we want Iran to fail, why can't then our government, United States government, support Baluchi independence fight? Because we've seen what happened to the Chechen people, we've seen what happened to Uyghur people. We're seeing what is happening in the world to Ukraine. We're letting, and Ukraine may, God forbid, end up in the same situation as Balochistan.
Gary, the invasion of Cyprus. It was not a long time ago, but it looked like it will be deoccupied in a while. But nothing happened. It's just like I'm listening to that as if it would be just really, you said bizarre, but I think it's horrible because someone occupies and people keep saying that it's ruining the world law, the
Not
international law,
escalate, not
and this
escalate,
and that.
yeah.
But the fact remains that the one who occupied remains on the territory, on the earth, and the one who was occupied is searching for exile. And this is horrible.
And it's 21st century. It shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be fighting for land. I mean, today, right now, we're all sitting on different countries, and we're talking. We're not fighting over land. So it is pure oppression and genocide of certain nations to get rid, because you cannot not have nations. Well, maybe, I mean, Jews have waited for 2,000 years, before.
Yeah, we like one thing about them. Whenever they met, we have learned one thing from Jews, that um, whenever they met, they said, "See you in Jerusalem next time."
Yeah, next year in Jerusalem. Yes, we always raise it. I'm Jewish, and I mean, I guess you can see that, but we always say that, yes, next year in Jerusalem. That's correct.
Yeah. So now we have learned that, and when we meet each other, and we, instead of saying goodbye, we say, "See you next time in Free Balochistan." So,
well,
if you can wait for 2,000 years, we can.
I think we have to admit that something very untypical for the whole world happened when due to maybe Gorbachev's efforts, but finally Germany reunited, because it is something that if a part of a country is occupied by someone,
Mhm.
it is quite rare that the invaders go uh, by their own will peacefully in a way. It is a very rare example, and I wish it would happen like that in
Actually, yeah.
Balochistan. But where is
it-
the hope for that way?
Actually, the basic hope is comes from the reality. A free nation, a free country, invaded and occupied. They have occupied our land and administration for few years, few decades. But our spirits, our free spirits, they cannot enslave or crush our spirits. Every Baloch child is born with that spirit, that courage. We are not afraid of them. And we know that we are free people, and nobody can keep us divided, keep us away from each other through these colonial ugly lines, or anybody in the world, if thinks that they have today nuclear powers, they can keep us. Another very important aspect that is related with the independence of Balochistan is making that region nuclear free. What Pakistan and Iran are doing, they are misusing Baloch lands, Baloch mountains, to pile up their nuclear warheads, their nuclear weapons of mass destruction. Pakistan has used Baloch land without our consent. I was protesting on the roads against that. I was, as a professor, left my university and I was protesting with my students that we don't want your nuclear weapons testing in Balochistan. But they did it. Uh, we Cancer is spread in Balochistan like flu. For 6 years, there was no rain, and the radioactivity, the water was poisoned. You would, I mean, 90% of cattle died, 90% of wildlife died at that time. Nobody took any action, and uh, a documentary, and Pakistani state was saying that it's a virus that Baluch people are dying. Then my husband, he's a filmmaker, and he went and he filmed the whole situation and gave it to Reuters, and Reuters made this news in the world that it's not virus, it's radioactivity. People are dying due to radioactivity. People are dying due to it's drought. There's no rain, and and the government is not giving any support. And then few of my friends that I have studied abroad, they were running some INGOs. They came to help me, and they said, "Okay, let's go where we should take the food." When we were taking the food towards those drought hit areas, the state forces came and stopped us, and they said, "You can't give food to them. Take that food to Punjab. That is already taking everything from us." This situation, like we are demanding Balochistan as nuclear free zone. We don't want nuclear arms. The world should intervene. There are so many United Nations agencies to disarmament and working against these arms of mass destruction. Why they don't come? Why they don't come and take it? Take it out. Balochistan, we don't want nuclearization. We are peaceful people. We don't need to wage war against any nation, any people. So this is another very important point that world can take a step on it. That people don't want.
So, Madam Prime Minister, let me ask you a difficult question right now. And as a Muslim, as a woman, as somebody who's struggling for independence, for return of their nation, what do you feel about what is going on now in Israel with its neighbors?
Yeah, it's the way the state of Iran and the way the state of Pakistan are expressing to their people and the world and making this a religious issue. It's not a religious issue, it's a political issue. It's every nation has a right to live. Israel has a right to live in peace. Nobody has a right by any law, by any religion, to come and attack on the people who were celebrating, who were happy, who were enjoying their life in peace. They were not doing anything against anybody. That attack actually shook the world, and uh, we as Baloch people, we are with Israel, and we are with the people of Palestine also. If the people of Palestine, the children, the women, the people who are not in war, who are not in any kind of terrorism, we are not against anybody. But there should be peaceful coexistence. There should be peace, and Balochistan will have their best relations with Israel, because if we say we love Abraham as our forefather, our great forefather. So we all are from Abraham. How we can hate each other? If we read Quran, it calls Bani Israel, the most blessed people all the time. Who's Bani Israel? Bani Israel is the 12 tribes from the 12 sons of Jacob. Israel. He's our prophet. We can't hate. Actually, the way the role of Iran. Here is role of Iran. Why they want their clutches in Middle East? What is their role in Middle East? Just using their terrorist organizations to disturb people. And you see, this attack has a relationship with that this G20 announcement of India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor. At it started because it was going through Israel. It started a fight there. So, who are the beneficiaries of this fight? We can see who are the beneficiaries of this fight. So, the same hands who are killing Baloch these are the same hands who they are killing the people in Israel also and in Palestine also. But people of Palestine, they don't like such people who always come and create war. They want to live in peace.
Yes, I agree with you fully that you and Israel have an absolute common enemy, Iran and Pakistan. Uh, it is interesting to me that the voices in the Arab world, in the Muslim world, that are brave enough to say those things are always women. I never hear a man to say those things. It's always a religious Muslim woman that speaks the way you do. And I'm addressing this to my fellow tribesmen, to the Jewish nation, to Israelis, to say that here we are. Not all Muslims, not all Arabs are our enemies. There are many, many that are allies that want to live in peace, that want to live together, that want to share their religions, that are very close to each other. And here is a nation that we need to support. As Jews, we need to support such nations as Baluchi. We need to support such prime ministers. Prime minister is a woman. Here's you can't say that there is an oppression of that religion or oppression of that culture to women. We have a prime minister who is freely elected, prime minister in exile. I think it is our obligation as a Jewish nation to support such people, to support the creation of such nations, or not the creation. Those nations the Baluchi nation apparently was created by God or by nature naturally to support, to make sure that this nation remains free and our ally. So I wish you all the luck, and I wish that journalists, responsible journalists, and politicians who will hear you, that you will have enough lobbying in our Congress and in the Canadian Parliament to get more support to Baluchi struggle.
Thank you so much, Gary. Actually, just to share with you one thing, uh, to know how Baluch people feel for our Jew brothers and sisters. One of my mentor and my teacher in politics, yeah, his Yusuf Masti Khan, um, he used to visit his parents' graves and then he used to visit a Jew graveyard. Um, and always he said, I said, where you were? He said, I visited Uncle Ronnie. So Uncle Ronnie was a Jew community leader in that time. Karachi was part of Balochistan, and then British took it on lease from the king, and then included into British India. And then when they left it, they handed over it to Pakistan. So Karachi today is a big part, and its Sindh's part is also. So Sindhi people and Baloch people, we both share the city of Karachi, and we are together in our struggle also for liberation. So, he told me about that the Jews, his uncles and aunts, who lived with them, and how they loved each other and how they had. And then from 1980, that graveyard, no new body came for burial there. So everybody has gone to move to Israel. And the Karachi mafia, the land mafia, with the help of state, maybe you have information that the last synagogue in Karachi was demolished by the orders of Ziaul Haq, the martial administrator, and then there is a commercial mall there on the remains of that synagogue, and uh, there is a movement to rebuild the synagogue again. But the land mafia of Metropolitan, they are very strong, and they have backing in Pakistan army generals. So they tried to demolish the graveyard and change it into a commercial scheme. So that Yusuf Masti Khan stood, and Baluch people, they protected the graveyard. They knew that nobody will come. They had no connections, uh, almost no connections, the common people, but they stood there. And again, a Baloch woman gave her life, like for lifetime. She's sitting there in front of the graveyard every day and night, and she's saying, I see who will come and demolish this. And the whole Baloch community is standing with them as part of our own history. Um, this is how we are different people. We live uh, in I don't know how we are surviving, uh, living a very fanatic kind of nations living around us, and trying to convert us into people like them who can hate people. We don't hate people. Still, we have temples, Hindu temples we have, and we protect those temples, like Hinglaj Mata Temple. Baluch people go. I personally have gone there, and we respect
Yes, I
that.
saw your
And yeah,
pictures. Yes.
okay. So yeah,
Thank you
we,
very
we
much, Madam Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Clearly, there is history, and there are things that you shouldn't do. When I served in Poland, they built a very huge industrial mall. It was the most modern one. It's called the Blue Building. You can look at Google it, and people said don't build it because in that place there was a synagogue where the Germans put all the Nazis put all the Jews and burned that synagogue. It's a holy ground, but the government ignored it, built and invested for investors. Well, that building all of a sudden started to lean to the left, and it was pronounced not inhibitable. So they kept saying it's bad luck to do that. And to remind also the Chernobyl, the forced generator that blew up was built also on the place of a synagogue where the Jews were collected there and burned down. So of course you don't do those things because you shouldn't do those things. And I appreciate you spending time with us and explaining to us. Once again, I call upon people to pay attention to this and to support Baluchi struggle. And Madam Prime Minister, I ask you respectfully that you send to Maria the sites where people can connect with you, the sites where the movie is made by your husband about the death of Baluchi people, the killing of Baluchi people, and where we can more learn about your struggle and your country. Because unfortunately, it seems like the world is ignoring another disaster and trying to turn a blind eye, thinking that somehow it will go away, thinking that somehow it's going to come to their house. And I can assure you, if we allow these things to happen, sooner or later it will come to us and we will face the same fate. So let us all support the struggling nations, struggling people that are fighting to share our values, to live in peace with us, and to make this world better. Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Prime Minister, and Gary, thank you very much too. I have to admit, I was really shocked today by all the information. Thank you so much for sharing everything, all that information with us, for your time. And I think that information in a way is also a weapon. Let's hope that this was also a step forward that we're making today, and we should not stop, and we should make more steps forward, and finally, of course, we are all waiting for the victory to come.
Sure. Thank you so much.